all the content here is available to everyone. So what is the objective of the success plan? Remember when we first signed up to be a member for Toastmasters, and we promised those members who join in our clubs that, hey, you are our investment. We are here to support you. We're going to make this positive environment for you. We're going to cheer for you. We're going to give you the opportunities. We're going to team up with you. So the primary objective of the success plan is really the member. If we achieve the member goals, we will translate those into the club. And of course, as you all know, at Toastmasters, it propagates upward. We all part of this great organization, so our success is uplifted, vertically speaking, to the division, to the district, to the region, to the Toastmaster International. And with that success, we are achieving here basically the mission of Toastmasters to be that place to be for developing people around the world. So we want to meet the members' professional and educational goals in our success plan. Equally important, we are after quote unquote membership experience. See, in Toastmasters, it's a unique learning model, and our objective is to keep that brand of Toastmasters where a member, when they walk into our club, it is not like walking into another training institution or another workshop. They will enjoy and learn from this unique experience. So membership experience is one of the most important outcomes of having a very good successful plan. And how we do it. And these are, by the way, to the best of what I know, based on my experience, but also based on what I surveyed around. If we respect the roles of every officer and their duties, if we work as a team and together we identify these challenges that the club or our club is having, accordingly come up with mitigations and solutions and setting up specific goals to address these challenges, and we establish strategies that will be part of the plan development so we can overcome these challenges. Of course, a plan is a piece of paper as long as we don't act on it and track it. So we have to follow up and produce results. You can be the best student, the smartest one, but if you are not scoring an A, you are not the best. So we have to translate our output into something that is tangible on ourselves first, as well as the club. A very important approach in the success plan is reward impartially, because we're going to have this team working together diligently, and along the way, they will be achieving some small success. And along the way, we have to acknowledge it and recognize them to motivate them so they can give us more. So the question here is, how do I develop the success plan? Well, as I mentioned earlier, there is a great resources that Toastmasters International has. And if it's basically listed here, and we will share it with you. And by the way, this is based on the latest, which is June 2020. This is the latest revision. So the best way to learn is to walk you through an example. Otherwise, I will be just presenting, giving you some tips, and then say, oh, great job, thank you, you inspired, or it was a dull. And then you walk away. And then you go, well, how do I start? What to do? So what I'm gonna do here is, as I go through how you do it, I will be sharing with you some tips to make sure that we get something out of this training session, I hope. The form that you will be getting out of Toastmasters International website, it is 1111. You can download it, and we will send you a soft copy, and I will send you what's even filled up here as I go by. So for example, the first thing you see here is the club number. So you put in your club number. In this case, my home club is the Haran Toastmaster Club. It is 1059. And then the team composition, which is basically the officers. The 7 officers. If you are a legacy club or not a new club, please ensure you include the past president. I've seen some success plans in the past where they don't really include their past president. In fact, some of the club presidents don't even acknowledge their past president, unfortunately. But I know that's not the norm. I know most of us do. But this is just a kind reminder. Always make sure that the past president is part of your team. And then from there, you go to the next, which is what are the core values that you as a club will be operating on? And as you all know, we all embrace the Toastmasters core values: integrity, respect, service, and excellence. I hope you can see my screen clear. Can I hear yes?
Yes.
Yes, awesome. So we always have to embrace these core values because that's the foundation of Toastmaster. These are the operating principles that we basically make use of. And then we can add more to it. For example, one of the core values is trust, innovation, timely response. Yes, these can be a value. An operating principle can be uplifted to a value if we want to embrace it more and indulge ourselves into it and make it part of our behavioral norm. Once you agree on those, then you move into what are the operating principles of your club. And then you can select, okay? For example, in the club that I am part of, which is, by the way, I'm a member of that club, I am the treasurer in that club, we elected teamwork, transparent in communications, maintaining respect, respect cultural differences, commitment to education, and flexibility. So you fill up these as a team, or you can fill them as an individual. And when you meet with the club president, you as officers, you can go ahead and discuss them and then select the one that you want to move forward with. Next, especially for a new club, I mean, for an existing club, we all have some challenges. And one of the key challenges that we may have, especially this time of the year, because of the COVID and the economical distress that we have, the economical conditions, the geographical distances, or the commitment level. These are some of the challenges that some of the clubs may have. So you list them. So if one of your challenges is not finding a place to meet, list it. Because guess what? We're going to use that challenge later on as part of building this plan to go ahead and come up with a mitigation plan for that. The key thing here, when you put down your obstacles, try to be specific. Clearly define the challenge and the challenge impact. Here is an example. Our biggest obstacle is the growth rate in membership. In last year, we have grown only by 10%. 2 new members. Sounds like this club has 20 members only. So 10%, 2 members. The lack of growth has attributed, is attributed to economical conditions. This slow in membership growth has caused stress to the current members and supporting the club goals and may even cause burnout risks. So you are basically defining the issue. Lack of membership, it will shift the burden on a smaller populations of your club. And this population over time, they get tired of taking roles and delivering speeches. So they go into this burnout phase. So great. Later on, we're going to see how we're going to address this obstacle. Now you've done that, great. Then the next block is meeting protocol. So you as a club officer, you need to decide how often you meet. Are you going to be meeting monthly via online, weekly via email, or is it going to be bi-weekly? How about the XCOM? Are you going to be attending the council meeting for the division, all of you? So these are the things that you need to go ahead and set up upfront. One thing I recommend you here, okay, and I recommend all of us, is, please do not overwhelm the ExCom committee with a lot of meetings. The problem when you overwhelm them with meetings, when you really need them, honestly speaking, they are tired, they are not going to show up. And you're going to be alone. So let's make sure we have purposeful meetings. So you are done with that, great. We move into the next one. Team interactions and behavioral norms. How you guys going to work together as a team? It's really important that you as an officer agree. Are we going to go with this consensus where all of us will have to agree on this? Are we going to make sure that the tasks are assigned to the actual officer role? And please do so. I see some club presidents, they will assign, for example, membership drive to maybe the secretary. And that is big wrong. The membership is by VB membership. So please make sure you assign the roles to the correct officers in your club. How are you going to resolve conflicts? Is it going to be face-to-face? Yes, I recommend face-to-face. Even if you have a Zoom meeting, please do not use email. I've seen email wars because of miscommunication. The best thing is talk it out. We are friends. We are here for a common goal. So we are a family. You have a conflict, work it out together. And if you can, always seek guidance from the club club members who are senior, some maybe past this immediate past this club president, the area director, or maybe you can go to the division. The key thing here is make sure that you have a supportive environment. And once you make a decision, you all have to rally that decision and support it. Now, so you've done that, great. Okay, by the way, I'm going to go faster as we go along. This is just setting the stage. The team will use, what will be the club executive committee methods of communication? Are you guys going to be talking communicating via phone, okay, or WhatsApp or email? I love setting protocol. Phone is only for urgent, WhatsApp for maybe important, okay, and email for things that have a day or a week to do. Why you are pounding everyone with WhatsApp? Okay, so please agree on a protocol for communication. It will make your life much easier. And then what will be the communication parameters? This is really important. So for example, here you define the how, okay? So for example, you decide no WhatsApp messages or phone calls from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Okay, sorry, before 9 a.m. or after 9 p.m. You want to start your early morning, be clear. You don't want to be pounded by Toastmasters issue. You want to go to sleep maybe at 11 o'clock, but you don't want to be disturbed between 9 to 10 o'clock when somebody is calling you about Toastmasters. So set up these parameters where we'll put bounds to the communication. Even the email, give yourself a break. Toastmasters is not your life. Toastmaster is part of our life. So an email can wait a day, 2 days, 36 hours. Why not? Okay, or more, unless it is really urgent. And decide to take a break. Decide to say, hey, no communication at all. I don't want to hear anything about Toastmasters, for example, for 6 hours. So for example, no communications on Friday morning until 1 p.m., except if there is a major event. Believe me, it will make a big difference in your mindset. So you done that. How will the club executive committee resolve differences? Remember the core values. All of you are respect. We have to respect each other. Listen, 99% of our issues is we don't listen. So when we listen to each other, believe me, that is 50% of the resolution. Differences, which we will always have some differences. If you and another officer cannot make it, then maybe you as officers can vote on it, and the majority vote is followed. And for some reason, if you guys cannot really make a decision, which I doubt, enlist the support of others. A trustworthy person from the club and or from the area or the division. How will the club executive committee members support one another? Share best practices. If you have done something great and you succeed, share it with the other person. Join open houses. That if the PQD have a special training program, join them. If the membership drive having an open house, okay, join them. Point here is be together as one unit. Do what you say you are going to do. This is really important because sometimes we get excited and then we overcommit. Okay, and we are people, fellow leaders and friends. You know, we get distracted by family, work, and if you say something that you're gonna do it and you can do it, communicate as early as possible. Let them know, let the other officer know, hey, I'm having a problem. I need your help. But once you say you're gonna do it, okay, do your utmost to do what you promised to do. How will the club executive committee be held accountable for its responsibilities? Of course, you guys gonna have your ex-comp committee meetings. You're gonna have meeting minutes. The goals are written. The secretary can follow up, and you together help each other. Pick up behind each other because sometimes we may fall. We need somebody to basically hold our hand and help along the way. I see it. I ran into a club where the club secretary resigned after he was just elected, for God's sake. Okay, and he was overwhelmed by what he heard that he was going to go through. And when we helped him out, he came through and he did fantastic. So help each other and support each other. So you done this, you done that, great. So now, how will the club executive committee and supporting members be recognized of their efforts? This is really important. I know you are not a club officer because you want to be recognized. We know that you want to be there because you want to develop, grow, and support each other. This is fantastic. But guess what? Let us give ourselves a break and recognize our achievement. So if one of the club officers did something good, please recognize him in front of the club members. You can use social media and or during the area council meeting and or even the division activities. There are some newsletters that are being published at the club level and even higher. So recognize each other. Now you done all of this, then you go, great. We as an officer, we know how we're gonna be engaged, we know our challenges, we are set to go, we are ready. Let's understand our basics. What do we have today? So in this case, this club has 20 members as basis. And they have, the question here is the officer asked, well, how many members we aim to have by next June? And in this case, they are ambitious. They want to have 10 more. So by next June, it's going to go from 20 to 30 members. And of course, that will translate some activities that the VP membership has to follow on in a minute. So you're done with this, you're done with that. So now you define your growth, and then you go, okay, other goals. Are we going to be achieving basically the distinguished club status, which is basically 5 out of 10 goals? Or are we going to go for 7 or 10? In this club is really fired up. They never settle for less than 9, and they can even do 10, but they elect to stop at 9. But to do that, there are some requirements, as you all know it. In the educational goals, it's from 1 through 6. And here it spells out how you do, how these points are translated. So I'm not going to go through this in detail, but as you know, when you log into your dashboard, it will show the educational goals that you need to achieve to get your BCB points for levels of level 1 to levels of 2, okay, and so on and so forth. And because of time, I'll just move. Then part of your success plan is you need to do something called situational analysis. And here, I try to change the model of what I am working on. In this situational analysis is we have a new club that was just started. So what is the current status of the club? This is a new club with 19 brand new members who are eager to complete different levels of pathways. So we have members who are excited. But we have a veteran Toastmaster who is working on her second DTM. We believe strongly the 6 educational goals can be achieved because of all of this. So you as a club officer, by now, you should know you have been the club officer for almost 8 weeks. You know your members, you know where they are at, and you know what does it take to go ahead and bring them up to the next level. So you need to go ahead and reflect here from analysis. So it's an existing club. You could say we have many members who are halfway in their project, and maybe the past video education has more even granular statistics. Or you can have a survey to the club members, say, hey, tell me where you are at. Or since you are the club officer, you can go into the dashboard and start looking at the profile and see where everybody at. The point here is pull the details and have it reflected here. How motivated are members to progress through the educational program? Okay. Well, in this case, it's a new club. We are lucky. We have 19 fired up members who are ready to indulge into the pathways. We have a VVU education who has developed already a schedule for the coming 9 months. This is very impressive. This VVU education is already a star performer. He already developed a schedule for the coming 9 months. This is what the VP of education should be doing by now. It should have been done. And if it's not done, it's never too late. Follow leaders. We need to come up with a schedule. If we do not have a schedule, we will not have the substance for our meeting. What obstacle keep members from completing projects? For example, it could be limited members are not motivated and or have frequent travels to remote sites. Whatever the challenges that you have in your club, put that there, please. Then you go to the next. How familiar are members with the educational program? In this case, it's a new club, okay, but they are eager and they are want to learn. Okay, we have a mentor who is a veteran, and we are holding frequent educational programs. So these are tips. By the way, what I'm throwing here is tips to the VP of education. So kindly look at that as also recommendation, best practice of how you address these challenges. How does your club promote educational program? We have held presentations for successful club series. We have a schedule for coming 6 meetings with an educational session focusing on specific element of the program. This is an amazing club. They really have a very good educational plan. They already going through the Success Club series. They already have 6 meetings lined up with an educational session. And these educational sessions are not lengthy. They are about less than 8 minutes or 7 minutes. It's like a speech. It's like a quick dose to the members. Okay, additional notes. We are counting on the division and area level educational programs to help our club. Great. Next, we move into the educational plan. So we did the situational analysis. We know the challenges. We know the goodness and the weaknesses that we have in our club. Now we want to go ahead and cater, okay, basically a plan. And the educational plan translates into basically sub-activities. So educational action number 1 here for this club, they developed a schedule for each member. Awesome, for the coming 9 months. Ensure a member who is not delivering a speech in a particular meeting is also taking a role. Amazing. This club is really very engaging, where we have people are delivering speeches. We have the member taking on roles. And sometimes you run into the sad situation where the club Most of their speakers are guest speakers. Please, please, please don't do that. It's good to have a guest speaker, but the club is chartered for the members. Focus on your club. Some people, they do it for the show. Some people, they do it for good purpose, good intentions, for educational. Some people do it for whatever reason is. But the successful club is the one who really shore up their people, give them opportunity, encourage them, make them on the stage and deliver. Now, for this educational action, there are some resources that may be required. And that's where you go into step number 24. It happens to be these days, we are going into virtual. So there is no need for funds to buy snacks. Okay, no additional equipment, no material. Everything now is digitized. So great. So you do not have to print. Awesome. Assignment for educational one, who is going to be now executing? So you define the what is needed to make it happen. Next, who is gonna basically lead it? Because this is very important. And the VP of Education will lead this effort by himself. Great. But guess what? This VP of Education is really smart. He is enlisting a committee to help him track and support the members. Amazing. Who is responsible for the educational action? Of course, the VP of Education in this case, but another action later on you see, maybe it could be one of the subcommittee members. So it doesn't have to be the VP of Education or VP membership or VP of Public Relations responsible for every action. You can delegate some key members of the club to lead some of the tracks in your success plan. The timetable for this action, complete schedule by August 20, so they are done. From August 25, okay, sorry. When will the education action be completed? It was August 25 for current members. Now, guess what? You took care of the current member. How about the new members? You see here, action number 2, for new members will be added to the schedule after the second week of joining the club. Wow, this is great. So this member who is coming, he is being baptized by fire. Actually, no, he is being supported the best way we can. And we are not leaving him or her behind. We are giving him a week, and then after that, we'll put him on the schedule, or we'll put her on the schedule. So he is or she is part of our now people that we can go and enlist to take on roles. How will the progress be tracked? The VP of Education will maintain that and issue reports. Fantastic. Now, we're done with educational one. I went through that in detail. So the second action or second goal is education action number 2. Okay, this is another one, which in this case, review the member results from education 1, select members for fast track scheduling, them to deliver speeches in the club and in other clubs. So this VP of Education really is eager to go ahead and have his members develop and deliver and basically contribute to the club DCB points and to themselves too. The resources, we go through the same exercise. Okay, who is going to be leading this? The VP of Education in working with his committee. And this will be starting October, because by October, you will know who is on the fast track and will be concluded by June. And the list goes on. Great. We are done with the VP of Education. Now we go to the goals 7 through 8. So 1 through 6, we took care of that via the educational program. And you could have educational action 1, action 2, action 3. There's a big list. And if you need another form, you can put even additional. So now let's move into the next goal, which is goal 7 and 8, which is simply membership. And of course, this goes to the VP membership for a new member. Okay, a new, dual, or reinstating member. Okay, the second point is another for new members, dual or reinstating members. Now, This VP of education, she is really clever. She looked at the current situation. She said, wow, I only have 20 members today. Great. The goal is to have 50. Fantastic. Okay. But I know what's going on. I have a challenge. The current COVID-19 may prohibit me, but I'm not going to give up. Fine. I want to go ahead and come up with a plan to make it that happen. So this VP membership, she took the first action. She has it listed here. She hosted a virtual membership drive, and that is by communicating with the club members and promoting that, hey, we're going to have an open house virtually. Place an ad in the company newsletter if it is a corporate club, and if it's a community club, maybe in the complex that you live in, and or in places that maybe have some crowd. Fantastic. Does she need any resources? Funds may be required for the ad, and she is trying to find a sponsor for that even. So she is not carrying the burden on the club. She is extending herself to say, hey, I will need to go ahead and have an ad for this virtual membership drive, and I'm going to find a sponsor. Great. She is raising the bar. And then she goes in and she puts more details. Assignment for membership action. Who is going to be taking care of this? VP membership will assess free media up if there is a need for funding the ad, okay, from the president and the treasurer, assess funding, being a sponsor. And then the timelines between September this year, which means a week from now, and June next year, we have these basically virtual membership drives. How will the progress be achieved? Track number of new members joining and send the status update. Great. This VP membership did not stop there. She added another action. And that is action number 2. Guests from other clubs and non-Toastmasters to join. How is she going to be doing that? Or who's going to be doing that? In this case, club members will need to be engaged. And the assignment for the members, each member is responsible to invite one member or one guest. The VP membership will track, give them the material, convince them that, hey, this is the right place to be for you. So we are done with that. To move on to goal number 9. This is where we need to make sure that our club officers train. They are attending the 2 things that are required. And by the way, please, 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 to all the club officers, the first opportunity started July 1st and will end August 31st. Do not deprive your club the opportunity of attending training and getting the point. Join and attend the club officer training because that will impact your club. Most important, it will help you to do your job much better. The current situation analysis for this goal, the division provides the required training for all the club officers. This club is lucky. They do not have to worry about putting together special training for their club officers. They can go ahead and just join the division and go through that enriched experience of training. What are your club current obstacles? Some club officers are in remote site and cannot attend the training. Oh my gosh, this happened to all of us where we have some of the officers are in remote site. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where we can make use of our technology. As you know, it allows from even Toastmaster guidelines. So you use Zoom. I don't think now with technology, anybody cannot be reached. So you could have them part of this big training and or maybe a one-on-one training, but don't leave that officer without going through it. The action plan here, we will work with the officers and ensure that they all attend the division. And if there is anyone who misses the training, we'll make sure that there is an alternate chance. And the resources, the division level training. And now you achieve point number 9. Now let's go for goal number 10. And this is really very important. On-time payment membership dues and making sure that basically your club officers are reflected on time. It's really very important. In this case, the analysis, it's a new club. However, we already have 50% of the current members who are committed to renew. So great for them, but you really need to make sure that you start as early as possible in reaching out to the club officers and somehow collect the fees so you can pay on time. I know some of the club members wait till the last minute and or they start slow. No, from day 0, do that. The action here, we have started membership renewal campaign in the club. We will collect the fees over 3 payment installments. Wow, these guys, they are doing it in an easy pay plan. They are not going to wait and just collect the funds when they are due. They're just going to go ahead and scatter the payments over 3 months. They take maybe 50 riyals, another 50 riyals, 200 riyals, and the treasurer keep up of how much you are paying. And when it's due, all the money is collected. Amazing. The membership, they have a plan. Awesome. The second thing here is assignments of basically who's going to be doing that. It's going to be the VP membership, and the timelines is between September and basically for the first round between July to September, and for the second round between February and March. And of course, it will be tracked. Another action here is basically making sure that the administrative action number 2 is hold the election at least 6 weeks before the end of the term. This is really important. Sometimes some of the clubs will wait till the last week, and what we call this this is abrupt finishing, abrupt beginning. If you do it 6 weeks in advance, you are allowing for the transition. You are allowing basically everybody to get into the wheels of motion. All the planning can be transpired during that period. So it's really important that you hold the elections way early. Don't wait till the last minute. I know some of the clubs, believe it or not, the club officer were assigned 2 weeks after the term started, and that is sad. So for those clubs that they meet every 6 months, every week, so meaning that the officer, they change every 6 months, maybe the election needs to be done in November 30th, but if it is for bi-weekly meetings or twice a month, this means that the club president election or the officer's election will be at the end of the year, which is June next year. So you make sure that you hold the election by May 15th. And this is really crucial to make sure that there is a handoff. Great. You are done with all the elements of the success plan. Amazing. Teamwork, you put it together. Give yourself a big round of applause. Now you have to sign. Yes. Why signing? It is basically a testimony to say, hey, I, as an officer, commit to deliver. You sign and your date. And as you can see here in this sheet, there are some slots at the bottom where you can have some of senior or seasoned or people who really want to work with you guys, okay, on these subcommittee activities. So you can have them sign, give them the chance to sign, because that is another sense of empowerment. This is really how we bring the new club officers to service. Identify them, give them responsibilities, get them to sign. They are a stakeholder of this great journey. Fantastic. You signed. I want to share with you now, once you're done with the success plan, you want to share it with your club members, because the success plan is not for you as an officer. It is really for us as club members. So you need to communicate with him. In this case, my club president is Rosalba, which is another great leader that we have and in our District 79. Basically, she took and worked with her in taking the success plan, translated it into PowerPoint slide to communicate with our club members. And by the way, this can be communicated during the area council meeting. In fact, we have a plan to even communicate it at the division level, inshallah. So here are basically the goals. How many people for level 1? She is targeting, her plan is to have 5, but guess what? We, as the club officer of this club, we're gonna target 10. So far, we achieved 1. Level 2, our plan is to have 5. We already achieved 1, and guess what? We are targeting 10 members. Level 3, the same thing. We have 3 plans, 0 achieved, but we are targeting 6 members to achieve level 3. Level 4, same thing, same 5, number 5, the same thing. And finally, for a new membership, our plan is to have 10. So far, we have 3. We are targeting 10. And I know now we are talking about saying, hey, you know what? 10 is too low. We need to go higher. And I'm sure we're going to be higher. Then we go into the educational, basically, action plan. Because we have to nurture our club members. We have to come up with a program, activities. And here is a list of all of these different activities with target dates, remarks. So club success series seminars, moment of truth for all the clubs, okay, members to make sure that they are attending, officer training, at least 6 of us are trained, all of us trained so far. Membership, we will have to join the division membership campaigns, seminars, ongoing, speechcraft. We are recruiting leaders to basically lead a speechcraft. A newsletter, it will be published by December 20th at 10 division level programs. Okay, and so far we never really missed a division educational activity. Awesome. We have a challenges though. We are not perfect. We have 2 challenges in this club. Member plan. Okay, some of the members do not really have a plan. And taking roles with purpose. We have members who just take random roles, but we want them to be now more of a thinker. Say, hey, I'm going to go ahead and be a speaker now. And the following session, I'm going to be an evaluator. And then I will be maybe a grammarian. So, and then a speaker. Okay. So basically have a plan in mind. Okay. The other challenge is cultivating leaders, because this is the challenge we always have. We want to cultivate leaders. Because we have members say, hey, I'm just interested in the educational program. I'm going to finish my pathways and leave. But what we want is also leaders to stay with us, because we want to make sure that we have the fuel of leadership for this great organization and to our district. Now, the suggested solution for the first one is focus on purposeful educational programs and implementations in pathways. And for the second one, form committees under the ESCOM. And now we can see the people taking some leadership roles, giving them some challenges, get them to taste the appetite of leading and let them enjoy it. let us also embrace them, recognize them. And with that, we will enlist their support. And with that, I conclude my presentation. And I will be more than happy to take any question that you may have.
Thank you, DDM Dr. Suleiman, for a wonderful and effective webinar. And you made it so simple that all the columns are filled already. Now, as a XCOM, now we know how difficult it is. Now, we spend hours together to come up with such a plan, and you gave us a ready-made plan within 1 hour. Before I open the question as a session, we would like to take this opportunity to capture the memory. So I would like all the participants to switch on their cameras. We'll take a snapshot and then we'll proceed for QA session. Those who would like to ask Dr. Suleiman, please raise your hand virtually. We will unmute your mic. You can ask him directly. Still some more to switch on the cameras. Thank you. Thank you for those who already switch on. Great attendance. Thank you, participants, for staying till the end. One more. There are 2 screens. Thank you. Now the floor is open for a question and session. Interested members, please raise your hands.
Any questions, any comments? If anybody have any questions, we are more than happy to discuss it. They cannot hear. Some people cannot hear.
DDM Dana, you may speak.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. What would you suggest a team of club officers do if you have a club officer that is not willing to interact and communicate with you? How do you reach out to them? How do you deal with that? Do you fire them? Do you counsel them? Do you find them a mentor? What would you suggest?
Okay, it all depends. If they are not communicating with you as a club president and officers, and they are doing nothing, we have an issue. So there's a way to deal with that. But if they are doing their role based on what Toastmaster manual and bylaws and branding within that norm, and for some reason they feel like that I don't need to go back to my club president, there is a way to deal with that one. So let's take the first scenario, a club officer who is doing nothing and he is not communicating. Well, guess what? You as club officer can meet and make a decision at the club level, explain the scenario, and make a motion and vote in discharging that person. I have done this before, where we discharge people simply by going through that process. But the most eloquent way, which I have done through it, is I would talk to them and say, hey, you cannot really deliver. We need to deliver. We want to work together. Please step down in a kind way, talk to them in a nice, kind way, and say, let's avoid this embarrassment and this fight, and just go and submit your resignation. And by the way, there is something called an active member and non-active member. So if this club officer has been invited to these meetings, XCOM meetings, and there is no show, and there is no engagement, automatically speaking, you have a case against that person. And you can go through the parliamentary process and discharge him. In the other scenario, this is really, I've seen it in work and life, where you have some people who are really competent and they don't need to communicate, they don't need to work with others, but they are a star performer. They are making great success story for the club. Honestly speaking, if somebody's doing that, great. Cheer for them. Okay? Acknowledge their achievement. Believe me, once they see that you are being kind, supportive to them, they're gonna come back to you. So remember, it's only a 6-month term, it's a year term. This is not a marriage. There is no need to make enemies. So if this person is really delivering, great. Now, there's also other factors, and I don't claim to be a psychologist, okay, but there is something called team activities. If you have team activities at the club level where you put the officers to work together, that is indirectly having them engaged. And I see in that some clever leaders is they go ahead and purposely speaking, they take those people who really are loners and they put them into another team, integrate them, and it is basically a team activity. And you'll be amazed. They get comfortable, they'll be basically outspoken, and you win them. At the end of the day, we really have to be careful. This is Toastmaster where leaders are made. This is a journey of development. It's not a paycheck or somebody's life is going to be impacted where you say, hey, I'm going to fire him or I'm going to be ugly to him. Take your time, enjoy the ride, let them enjoy the ride with you. That's my view.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor, for this well explanation. There was another question raised by Toastmaster Ali Shaman. He's asking, where can we get the fillable PDF file which you have used in the presentation?
My friend, this is all yours. We will go ahead and make sure it will be sent to all of you.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay, this is made for any Toastmaster. Okay, make use of it and share it with others.
Thank you. There is a hand raised by DTM Nasir.
Yes, Mr. Naveer. Yes.
You can unmute and speak.
Yes, Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much, Dr. Salman, for a wonderful presentation and things that really opened our eyes. I have seen something on that chart that you were showing. We have speechcraft. And my concern is that speechcraft is an old program now. We need to adapt it to the pathways. Is there a deadline that Toastmasters is working on so we can present it so it can fit the new program? Because the old, we see that we can graduate people and they can come in after they finish the project 3. But now we have pathways, level 1, level 2, etc. What's your point on that?
I don't know the answer from a Pathways Toastmaster International perspective, how they will integrate speechcraft. However, the intent of the speechcraft really 2 things. One, it's an excellent way to recruit new members. Second, it's an excellent way to promote the brand of Toastmasters. So the intent of the speechcraft in this scenario, it is simply to attract members to the club, not basically to gain the credit for Pathways. But I will be more than happy to follow up and see how Toastmaster International is addressing the transition of speechcraft to Pathways. Thank you for the question.
Thank you, Doctor. Next question by DTM Fahmi Abdul Kader. You may unmute and ask the question.
Thank you so much, DTM Dr. Sulaiman Al-Madi, for a very comprehensive presentation. My question is simple. The continuity of the virtual meeting, is it going to affect our membership? Is it going to affect our education attraction? I would like to hear a straightforward answer, sir. Thank you so much.
The straightforward answer, it depends. It depends on the member, really. Because some members, they enjoy the virtual world. Honestly speaking, myself, I love in-person. The good news is that we know that 2021 contest will be online. So by then, hopefully, the COVID-19 is basically under control. I definitely, this is, I would say, just like anything in life, it depends on the driver, it depends on you. Some people love virtual, like I said, and some people love in person. I am one of those people that I believe strongly that the virtual world, because the world is moving virtual, to reach out to the next generation, to the young generation, the virtual world is a plus, because that's all what they are using today. And I believe Toastmaster International took a great step by going into pathways, which is now all digital, and being adaptive to COVID, where Zoom and or other virtual platforms are used. But I love that in-person experience, and I wish that it will never go away. I doubt if ever we will lose the personal experience. It's going to be back, inshallah.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay, I think Mr. Abdul Fattah is raising his hand.
DTM Abdul Fattah, you may unmute.
Yeah. What's going on? Yeah. I'm glad to obviously be here, and I'm glad to attend this session. I've learned, and every time I say, whenever we listen, even if we listen 10 times, we learn, because each one looks at it from his own thing. But it's the question is, what would be the message you would like to give to a trend, which unfortunately I'm seeing, okay? And that it's dropping the standard, in my opinion. That so many officers, they're taking positions, posts, whether in the district, division director, or whatever it is, just for the sake of selfishness, i.e., he wants to go to the DTM. Because that is a requirement, he does that. Also, I'm seeing mentor and mentee relationship on paper, not on actual plans and actual physical things. What would be your message to this type of Toastmasters? Unfortunately, they exist, they are there. Thank you.
I would say, yeah, absolutely. I would say honesty is the most important thing. It's a guiding principle. We have to be honest with ourselves. With honesty, we will be, if we take a role, we will deliver. There is nothing but the value of that person. And by the way, I always say, Toastmasters has great value, awesome value. But guess what? These are your value before you became a Toastmaster. They are mine. I did not come to a Toastmaster. I don't respect people, or I have no integrity, and now Toastmaster is giving it to me. In the contrary, okay, my foundation, I was raised to have all of these core values, and you were raised. So it becomes now, some people, sadly to say, just like anything, it's like a driver. Some of the drivers are lousy drivers. And when they take that role, they don't perform. And that's where the bylaws of Toastmasters International help us. If it's an area director who is not performing, she or he can be removed. I served as a club officer, as a division director, and as a district director. Sadly to say, with all respect, I had to go and get through these journeys to discharge some people. But I had one scenario where it was a kind scenario. I talked to that person and say, hey, please, let's not make a big show out of this. Please just resign. in one scenario, I basically had to say, if you don't deliver, we will have to. Okay, and in that case, they did not deliver, and it was simply replaced. So, yeah, the bylaws of Toastmasters protects you and I. And if we have an officer who is not doing their job, we can go ahead and change them. Now, for the mentorship, see, it's a two-way relationship, mentor-mentee. If you are a mentee and your mentor is not giving you what you need, change them. And we have this misunderstanding in Toastmaster that mentor-mentee relationship is forever. It's like marriage. And you find these some people like, oh, my mentor, oh, my mentor, oh, my mentor, you know. No. Mentorship in Toastmasters is the first 3 speeches. Go back to the manual. You mentor that person for the first 3 speeches, and after that person, he move into the 4th one. And that's when he or she become a mentor for somebody else. Because in Toastmasters, we learn by doing. It's a practical experience, quote unquote, experiential journey. So we have to embrace it and live it. And if it's not working, you are the decision maker. Change your mentor. Now in leadership now, you have some people who are being mentored for many years. Okay, and that is fine. Okay, but if you are a leader and you only have one mentor, believe me, you are limiting yourself. You should have many mentors. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor, for this well explanation. There is a question from the participants. Do we need to add a new officer's role such as Zoom Master to the clubs?
In my opinion, there is no need to add an officer. Okay, in my opinion, we have something called some of the function that we have today, whether it's like a surgeon's arm, they can do that, and or any member can do this. You know, this is a temporary situation, but I'm not really the authority to make such a decision on this, or a guide or a best practice. In my opinion, the 7 officers are good enough, and anything else can be done by either the officer themselves and or the club members.
Thank you. Dear participants, any of you have any questions? And now it's a time to call our district officials. I'm afraid our district director is unable to join today, so may I invite our program quality director, DTM Ramit Jawad, to say a few words. DTM Rami, you can unmute. And
I understand that they may have some kind of an interview with an international.
Yeah, we just finished. Yeah, Dr. Al-Madi, we just finished. You know, just like.
Okay, excellent.
And just for the sake of the time, you know, my delegate is DTM Jeffrey. He's gonna go with general acknowledgement, and I would like to use the time to give it to more questions for the audience. Yeah. So any questions? Otherwise, DTM Jeffrey will be, you know, will be the vote of thanks with the permission of the webinar manager.
thank you. I think it's time for, say.
Kindly, before you close, if you have any questions, okay, please try to reach us. And if you have any recommendations of how we can deliver this session differently, I'll be more than happy. It appears to be that there is another demand by different district leaders who wish to have this. So I'll be more than happy to share with you any future meetings on the same subject. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. I think among us we have our Club Board Director, DTM SIS. Can you unmute and say a few words?
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. our Program Quality Director, Distinguished Toastmaster Rami Jawad, DTM Dr. Suleiman. A pleasant evening to all of you. Thank you so much, the DTM Suleiman, for conducting this webinar. It's really such a help to our these district leaders and members, so they will be encouraged to plan ahead of time to about the success of their clubs. So I believe that before they sleep tonight, it is really a take-home knowledge for them to ponder and start planning on how are they going to achieve their goals in their club. So I really thank you for doing this great session, and I really congratulate our program quality director, DTM Rami, for considering this wonderful topic for our district members. So thank you so much, and to the organizers of this wonderful session. I really thank you. Thank you all, and stay blessed and keep safe. Back to you, Toastmaster Mohan.
Thank you. May I invite now DTM Jeffrey to say a vote of thanks. DTM Jeffrey.
Yes, thank you so much, DTM Mohan. First and foremost, I would like to thank our presenter, distinguished Toastmaster Dr. Suleiman Almadi, in providing us a wonderful and informative webinar. Thank you for sharing not only your knowledge and expertise, but your invaluable time with us. To all district leaders, to our trio district director Madusha, our PQD distinguished Toastmaster Rami Al-Jawad, and our club growth director, Madam Distinguished Toastmaster Ses, who had graced this webinar. Thank you so much. My sincerest gratitude to our PQD, DTM Rami Al-Jawad, who spearheaded this event into success. Our manager, our webinar manager, distinguished Toastmaster Mohan, who tirelessly exerted all his effort in organizing and preparing this webinar. A special commendation and thanks to you. To our PRM manager, distinguished Toastmaster Palaniraj, who provided us his full support during the planning and scheduling of our Zoom platform, as well as in publishing our poster to different social media sites. Thank you so much. The collaborative effort of the PQD team is exceptional. My warmest thanks to each of you. On behalf of our humble PQD, I would like to thank everyone for your overwhelming support for this first seminar. For your attendance, everyone, please give yourself a round of applause. Again, thank you so much. We will be posting the next webinar very soon, so watch out. Always be safe and healthy. I now declare the first webinar adjourned.
Thank you, DTM Jeffrey. And also I would like to thank Toastmaster Ali Swai, who was behind the scene translator for those who were participating in Arabic. Thank you, Toastmaster Ali, for translating Dr. Suleiman's webinar. And the meeting is over. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Once again.
Thank you again. Bye.
Yeah, good night. I'll end the meeting now.